Okay, what the heck is poopin' gamers? Back with your daily content. Okay, I know it's been like 2 years. I know it's not daily. Get off my case, mom. I'm doing something else. I'm busy. Anyways, we are back with the ADV revival. If you're not familiar, Jimothy Gaming, I believe is his name, posted a big tournament, big Discord tour, and we're bringing back ADV, baby. We love that ruby, sapphire, emerald, fire, red, leaf, green. We love gaming. So Gen 3 gaming, if you're not super familiar, it's before the physical special split. It's a very developed meta game. There's all sorts of like the EV spreads in this tier. It looks like draft because you got like you got your Gengars with so much HP and speed and defense and SPDEF, and sometimes you're not even running minus attack because you want the explosion to do more. It's like, what is this tier? It is one of the most beautiful things ever. And me personally, my two like mains, like I'm mainly a draft main, but I'm also a Gen 3 OU. I've played many years of Gen 3 OU, and also Gen 3 draft. It's kind of like that sweet spot where I'm like, I love that Gen 3 draft. And so I actually ended up winning the Emerald Open last season, which I think I will probably try to post a like a team recap and maybe the finals match or something, but I haven't done it yet. So thinking about doing more commentaries and whatnot. So I'm starting with this is round of 128. They had two rounds of like Swiss pools, and people who made it through both rounds of Swiss pools would make it into the round of 128. I have an IRL friend, high on Weedle. He is not a like before this tour, I think he's played no ADV, but he just bossed up, man. He bossed up and he made it into the round of 128. Just like, I got another friend playing in this tour as well, and I think I might try to see if I can cover some of his games as well. But round of 128, Zach Peasy, I think, is a pretty good gamer. Pretty sure he's been playing a while. I haven't personally had any interactions with him, but I think he actually might have done some commentaries on the Jimothy Gaming channel. So without further ado, I know I've been talking, it's 2.5 minutes into the video and the first match hasn't even started. Here we go. We're starting out, going normal speed here. I see Metagross versus Smeargle lead. A lot of times Smeargle throw off a Spore turn 1, but Fake Out, that's really interesting. I haven't seen a Fake Out Smeargle turn 1. A lot of times what they want to do is they want to set up the spikes, they want to Spore, they maybe want to explode on something or pass a T-Wave, or sometimes they're setting up substitutes. So we see that Smeargle doing that same thing. I think it actually, yeah, there's a little bit of a visual glitch. So how do I switch sides? Oh, switch sides. Okay, so now those, we see the Smeargle booming and we see the spikes on the screen now. So Ninjask, basically baton pass. You want to get that speed up and you want to pass. I actually think I know what this team is going to be here with High on Weedle. I think he might have shown it to me before he played, but I haven't watched these games before. So T-Tar dropping the rock slides, not trying to let anything in for free. Getting a Metagross in on rock slide with +2 speed. That is, I'm going to start pausing so I can talk more about the individual turns as well. Sometimes you'll see agility Metagrosses, which can be very dangerous. You can have Meteor Mash, rock slide, explosion, and then they'll usually have obviously agility last. But if you have something like a Ninjask passing to a Metagross, then you have an extra slot that you might be able to fit something like maybe this has Hidden Power Grass, or maybe this has something else. Don't know if it's shown an item yet. So if it hasn't shown an item, then it probably isn't, well, if it hasn't shown an item, it's not leftovers yet. So could be Lum, could also be Choice Band, because it's not agility, it was past 2 speeds. And then Suicune's also another really interesting speed pass recipient, because it is, if you don't have something like a Blissey or a Snorlax, you get a fast Suicune with some Calm Mind up, and there's not a lot that can stand in its way, especially if it's got like HP Grass and whatnot. So we see a Swampert come out on that Metagross. Meteor Mash does a ton. That's likely a Choice Band damage. So he's just going to stay in, and Metagross is so bulky that it can take an Earthquake. So likely, a Mist Mash, which really stinks for Weedle here. And that Swampert it's potentially afraid of the hidden power grass, may want to switch out here, decides to risk it and stay in. It looks like an offensive team from both sides when you see Ninjask and you see the Smeargle lead. Sometimes they just want to like sack these mons. It's like, I don't care that like my Swampert's at like 36 right now. It checked what it needed to check. It checked the Metagross. I just want to let it die so I can get this switch initiative. And clearly we see that with Zach Peasy trying to get out this T-Tar so it can just start dragon dancing his way up. And if you remember, the Suicune is actually asleep as well. So Suicune's not saving it. Silverwind from Ninjask. That is a little bit that's a little bit cheesy, because if you get the Omni boost from Silverwind and you pass +1 in every stat to all your friends, that's not going to be very fun for your opponent. So you see Marowak come in here, and that's obviously the main pass recipient from Ninjask. Obviously didn't work out here, so Zach Peasy looks like he's in a pretty strong position because its Earthquake won't kill, but bringing in a Sceptile, this Sceptile looks like it could be very, very dangerous against the rest of the team, especially with a Sleeping Suicune and a Zapdos at 88. It probably has something like Hidden Power Ice, or there's probably something else that can handle a Zapdos in the back here, because the rest of these mons aren't like incredible Zapdos answers. So we see a missed Leech Seed, but the best Zapdos can do to this is Thunderbolt. It's not even a 3-hit KO, even with the sand. So I would suspect that this is probably in Zach Peasy's hands for the rest of this, unless this Suicune can somehow wake up and pull its crap together. Sexarilla. That's a funny Sceptile name. Yeah, so Subseed, especially in draft, Sceptile can just be so dangerous because it's so fast. You can pick the coverage that you want for the given matchup. In OU, it's very strong, but it's a little bit harder to work with because you want to do Subseed, or you want to do like Sub Endeavor, or you want to do Sub Pitaya 3 attack or something, and you don't know the opponent's team, so you don't get to choose which would be the best. Yeah. So we have Gengar and Suicune here. Gengar can probably boom from that range, and that doesn't kill, but with Sand it will kill. So Sand happens after the switch in Gen 3, if you know what I mean. Like. So 1-0 Zach Peasy. It's a best of 3 though. So next game, High on Weedle, Zach Peasy. I'm actually going to put this on slow so that I can talk a little bit better without having to pause it. Man, slow is so much slower than normal. What the heck is going on? Okay, the double steel Psychic lead. That's interesting. Fire Punch, obviously Serene Grace from Jirachi. You can get some burns here, but Earthquake on Metagross, they're just willing to trade that damage. And the next Earthquake will kill, assuming this Fire Punch doesn't get the burn. So I mean that's a favorable trade, that you have a basically a 50% Metagross versus a gone Jirachi. Clearly Zach Peasy did that because he's able to trap that Metagross with a Doug Trio. So Jirachi plus Doug Trio doesn't say anything too specific about the team structure, especially with Starmie here. I'm gonna say the Doug Trio is probably meant to trap some Blissies and maybe have some special offense in the back here. Interesting pick with the Lapras. Calm Mind Celebi is looking very dangerous, especially if it's a Boulder Celebi that can live one Hidden Power Bug from a Bandit Doug Trio. But switching out here, yeah, if Zach can't trap the Celebi with his Doug Trio, then this Celebi could go pretty bonkers against his team. And likewise, it looks like they're willing to trade some Calm Minds here. So it could be a Calm Mind pass from Zach Peasy. I wouldn't suspect Calm Mind pass from High on Weedle's team because he's got a Metagross plus Gyarados. It's not impossible, but that would look... It seems like it would just be a Celebi that's looking to sweep. So he does pass into Doug Trio here, but if this is a bulky Celebi, it's not gonna kill him. Yeah, and if he has Giga Drain, he'll get right back up. Yeah. Ooh. It's like a really dangerous position here now, because now Starmie can't come in and kill, Lapras can't really come in and kill. Perhaps a Perish Song on Lapras, but it's probably going to die to Giga Drain before it can get off a Perish Song, unfortunately. And now with a +3/+3 Celebi, and clearly doesn't look like Zach Peasy has anything too good to deal with this now. Looks like just an unfortunate matchup. Yeah, Giga Drain, Hidden Power Fire, Calm Mind, maybe either Recover or Psychic. I would guess Psychic. I think that's a very dangerous set. Doesn't even bother revealing the 6, so a little bit of a bad team matchup. So it's like he decided to go into those Calm Mind wars with his own Celebi. He might have just had to try to go Dugtrio on the Calm Minds from High on Weedle like early on to trap with a Hidden Power Bug and hopefully get down to a spot where it's low enough that a Starmie could kill it with an Ice Beam, but he would have had to go really early in the CMs. Like once he gets 1 or 2 CMs up, he Hidden Power Bugs, it brings it down to low, but the Giga Drain gets it up to enough that if he's at like +2 Spadef, then Starmie doesn't really kill with the Ice Beam. So a bit of a rough, there wasn't a whole lot you could do there with the matchup once it started getting rolling. So anyway, 1-1 for the two gamers going to a game 3. Very interested. There's a little bit of heat that was brought so far. Some Ninjasks, some Laprases. Now a pretty standard lead where you have a Zapdos versus a T-Tar. I'm pausing it here because there's a couple of things here. Obviously, we saw Zach Peasy click Baton Pass. Sometimes the lead T-Tar is not actually Rock Slide. Sometimes you'll have like the Fire Blast, Ice Beam, Hidden Power Grasp, Brick Break, Fast One. Occasionally, even if it's a Rock Slide T-Tar, you'll see like a Rain Team Thunderbolting team turn 1 and hoping that the T-Tar kills, so then Dugtrio can come in and trap, and then they can set up a Rain Dance, and then there's no more sand for the rest of the game. Seeing Zach go for a Baton Pass on turn 1, it's telling me probably not a Rain Dance kind of team, and we haven't quite seen the play from Weedle yet. I'm going to throw this on slow as well. So it goes out to Metagross. Pretty solid mid-ground play and aggressive Dragon Dance turn 1 from Widow. I assume he's gonna switch out here. Just goes right for the damage, man. Oh, right on an agility Metagross. So I don't suspect that this Tyranitar will be able to live a Meteor Mash. So, but it just misses anyway. I mean. That is a really extraordinarily rough start to game 1. Not the way you want to start a game, and going Heracross. No, gamer move with the critical hit. Okay, that is really a rough start, and Weedle decides to cut his losses here and say, "Hey, T-Tar's been doing too well. Obviously, after I dodge your Meteor Mash and crit your Heracross, there isn't too much that you can do now. So clearly you have your Swampert out. You didn't send your Swampert out earlier. I'll just hold my T-Tar in the back. Maybe I can chip down your Swampert and deal with that a little bit later." So we see a sub come out from the Swampert. That's telling me sub Endeavor Pert, especially because there's no leftovers. So Zach, while he's got the HP and he's not down into like a really good Endeavor range. Actually, I mean, it's sub Hydro Ice Beam. Yeah, it could still be Endeavor here. I probably would have Endeavored just because Blissey has so much HP that would have done more. I would have gone for the Endeavor and then probably the Ice Beam Freeze, just to chip the Blissey down. But looks like he wanted to go for the Freeze first, perhaps to get a sub and then force the Blissey to switch while it's frozen, and then kind of be in an advantageous spot there. But now that the sub is broken, looks like they're just going to trade down the Swampert to 1 HP and a perhaps sack the Blissey. Which, I mean, you have another 4 unrevealed mons in the back and a full health T-Tar. So hopefully you have other Zapdos answers, especially if you're going to get rid of your Blissey here, because Zapdos can wreak a little havoc, but I'm sure he has something. So we see the Endeavor down, and the Sand is going to kill this Blissey. So we have the Zapdos come back out. Let's see if there's another answer for the Zapdos, or he might just go back out into T-Tar and get another DD. Camerupt, baby. Incredibly, like, Camerupt is, it's a bit underwhelming frequently because its bulk is not what you would expect it to be. But it's got this typing that is exceptional at checking Zapdos and Gengars. So a lot of Gengars are like Thunderbolt, Ice Punch, and then a lot of them will have like Boom or Wisp. You can't Wisp it, you can't, well, you can Ice Punch it, but it's neutral. Thunderbolt's not affecting it. Zapdos are a lot of times Thunderbolt and then either HP Grass or HP Ice. Both of them are neutral, so it's like Camerupt is just one of the it's got one of those typings that just makes it really good at checking very specific things. It's got enough power and explosion that it can boom on some things as well. So sometimes it just falls flat in matchups because it gets caught by a Doug Trio or whatnot, and sometimes it actually has a decent spot to come in here. So obviously, if we're seeing the Zapdos trying to HP Grass this down, it's probably not. Zach probably doesn't have a great switch into this, or doesn't have a lot of counterplay. And the critical hit as well. Like, you just hate to see it because it's not like High on Weedle is playing bad, and it's not like Zach PZ is playing bad, but clearly there's a large difference in the amount of Pokemon on each side. I forget what the Pokemon Stadium announcer says, but obviously it's unfortunate to see hacks like that. We'll likely see an explosion here if Salamence tries to DD, but it just goes straight for the Earthquake. And the fact that the Salamence has Earthquake, it kind of screams DD Salamence. And Starmie disallows the DD. You got to switch into the Snorlax, which hopefully no freezes here. Snorlax, if you're a gamer, you focus punch here as the Tyranitar comes out, or something else. A Swellow plus Camerupt team. So Earthquake was actually a really good mid-ground play. It would catch the Tyranitar, it would catch the Starmie with at least decent damage. But you don't expect the Swellow coming out here. I don't think we saw. Yeah, I think we saw no leftovers on Swellow, so I'm gonna guess it was Choice Band, or it could be Lychee Endeavor, because there's not a large reason to use Swellow. Usually Dodrio would do the job of Swellow better in most ways. It's a little bit slower, but it's got a lot more power, and the reason you would use Swellow is probably for some speedy Endeavor set, if anything. But when you're this far ahead, it's like you can use whatever you want. So hopefully this is like an HP Ice Magneton or Thunder Wave. If it's Thunder Wave, then it can just T-Wave this Salamence to disallow the DDs. But if not, then if this Salamence can like live 2 Thunderbolts and like get a DD or 2 up, then it could be in a pretty good position actually. Yes. Oh. And another critical hit. Okay, that one definitely didn't matter because that was definitely an HP Ice. It definitely was not an HP Dragon on Magneton, so the HP Ice was going to kill that Salamence either way, but that was just a little bit salt in the wound. So, High on Weedle, first ADV tour and getting past the round of 128 and the pools, so love to see it, even if it's a little bit haxy on that game 3. We take those, and Zach PZ, bad matchup game 2 and haxed game 3, so it's like sometimes that's the game we play. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. I don't think either player played particularly poorly, but Zach got a little bit unlucky there. So signing off, I will catch you all later. Hopefully you'll see me with more commentaries.